Does Chamar Medina work for Kiddush? Second question we have to figure out is that I understand that maybe Chamar Medina does work for Kiddush, but does Chamar Medina work for Kiddush in a place where there's wine leroy? Is that where Chamar Medina was said? Maybe Chamar Medina is a special heter when you live in a place where there's no wine available. Third question is, even if Chamar Medina does help, is whiskey Chamar Medina? So we have to figure out, does whiskey reach this category of what's called Chamar Medina? And then we have to know that even if whiskey is Chamar Medina, so then we still have to figure out that Lamaisi, you have wine right in front of you. Usually we don't use a kula when we have the Mosel Chatchil, the Ka'ifin right in front of you. You have a wine sitting in front of you and I choose to use the whiskey. What type of business is that?
Oh, it's a shot glass.
Oh, and then the last question we have to address, which we'll see is maybe the hardest question to figure out, is what's the heter to use a 1 ounce shot glass and not a refuse? So, what's the Inyan Chamar Medina? Now, before we discuss the Halacha Shiur, we just have to make a little Hakdam of the Metzias. The Metzias is that until recent times, water was a very dangerous drink because they didn't have water filtration and water purification systems. So water was something that unless you had a nice clean well, a spring, you don't just drink water. Water was very often contaminated with all sorts of bacteria and who knows what. So people didn't really drink water. What they drank was, they drank an alcoholic beverage. Now, if you lived in a wine-growing region, you drank wine. Now they didn't drink full-strength wine, you get shikah. That's why we always find this inyan of being of moizik and sayayin. You have to dilute it. But by diluting it with wine, so that would help kill off the pathogens. So that's what was going on. But if you lived in an area where there was no grapes, they can grow grapes in many countries, especially in Northern Europe. So then you made different types of alcoholic beverages. You drank fermented beer, dates in Bavel, and in Germany and other countries they fermented grains, and they made beer. And each country had its drink that they drank. Whatever was the local produce, they would ferment it, they'd create alcoholic beverages, and that was the primary drink. Now that we have this hakdama, so now let's discuss what's this inyan Chamar Medina. So Gemara in Pesachim brings a story that a Meimar once came to town, and came time for Havdalah, and they brought him some beer, and he didn't want to make Havdalah on beer, didn't make Havdalah until they butchered, they found him wine. It was the next morning, he didn't eat anything that night because he couldn't make Havdalah, he didn't want to make Havdalah on beer. A year later, he came back around, and again the same story happened, and this time when they brought him beer, he said, Vaistacha, he said it wasn't just the mikra the last time he didn't have any wine, it must be that this is the Chamar Medina. So, so he says, Ihachi, that they bring it to me twice, Chamar Medina who, and then the Mewa Abdul, so he made Havdalah. So the Gemara says, you see, there was a musik that Ameimar was willing to be Seimach and Chamar Medina. He didn't just accept it the first time, that automatically beer is Chamar Medina, but when he saw that this place, they don't have wine, he said, this is Chamar Medina, and Mamela we can make Havdalah. Now, what do the words Chamar Medina mean? So Chamar Medina means the wine of this Medina. If you look at Rabbi Chanal says, Yayin sheshoysim b'nei ha-Medina kula, v'hu yenon, v'ein lahem zulasei. That they don't have wine. What they have is beer. So this had the chashivas in their eyes of wine. And the mela, since to them this is considered wine, you can make Havdalah on it. Now, there's a Yisayistic Chakira, which is really a Machlek Sachrayim, and how do you understand this concept of Chamar Medina? On the one hand, there are those that understand that Chamar Medina is a kula. Shmuel goes like this, that Pshat is if there's nothing else available, they're makel, they allowed you, you're stuck, you could use Chamar Medina. But really, that's all it is, it's a kula. Others understand, which really the Lashon in Chanal is mashim moral derech the Lashon. The Rambam is mashim like that. The Shulti Gibarim says it very clearly. He says, "Umumakim shekayvin sudasan ala shecher, v'roin shtiyasan shecher." That they're kedei suda. What did they drink at the meal? They drank beer. That was the main thing they drank. Hashecher hu lahem kemoy hayayin, umavdilon alav, mekadshin alav, umavorchan alav birchas hamazon. Because this becomes their wine. To them, this has the chashivas of wine. So, what are the two ma'alchim? Either you understand that it's a kula, and if it's a kula, so then we can only use it in limited circumstances, or no, it's the Havana is that we need to have a chashuv drink for a kaishal bracha. Now, what type of chashuv drink? So, if you live in a place, wine, avad is the most chashuv, we have psukim that prove that wine is the most chashuv, but somewhere where wine is not the most chashuv drink, or at least wine's not benin, so it's not drunk, so then we can have something else that could take the place in the chashivas of wine. Now, is this a halacha only for Havdalah, or is this for Kiddush also? Because the Gemara we quoted so far, the Meimar is talking about Havdalah. It sounds like he didn't get into fight with them about Kiddush, Pashas, they had some wine for Kiddush. So what's the halacha b'nei Kiddush? So this is the machlekes rishonim, because there's a Gemara, like right there in the Gemara brings a story that b'shem Rabbi, we have a memra that you shouldn't make kiddush and yayin, but most rishonim understand that that was talking about a place where it was not chamar medina. The shita of Taisus, the Rosh, is that the mokim, that beer is chamar medina. Chamar medina works not just for Havdalah, it works for kiddush also. There's no difference. Now, halacha in Shulchan Aruch is paskin that we go with the compromise of the Rosh. What's that? Because the Rambam is from those that hold you should not make kiddush on beer. And the Rosh says that Friday night, don't make kiddush on beer. Shabbos day, you can make kiddush on chamar medina. What's the chiluk? So, a few chilukim. First of all, Friday night kiddush is midiraisa, and you want to be more machmir by deraisa. And Shabbos day, not only is it midrabanan, but it's a whole different type of kiddush. The yesod of kiddush Friday night, without going too much into the sugyas of kiddush, is the inyan of zachreu alayayin that you're mazke Shabbos b'knisasa. It's a way of showing covered for Shabbos. What's this inyan of Shabbos morning making kiddush? So it's also from covered of Shabbos, so we make a heker. A Shabbos Suda is different than a regular weekday Suda. We don't just start off with we make Kiddush beforehand. So, since it's only an Indian of a heker, it's only Midrabanan, we'll be Mekel, we'll use Chamar Medina, Shabbos day for Kiddush. So, we have Shulchan Aruch, Paskins, Chamar Medina does work for Kiddush by day. So, our first question was, does Chamar Medina apply for Kiddush Shabbos morning? So, that's the Paskin Shulchan Aruch, that we could use Chamar Medina for Kiddush Shabbos morning. The second question we had was that, what exactly is the gather? When do we say this heter of Chamar Medina? So now this already gets a little bit more problematic, because you look at the Lashon of Shulchan Aruch and the Lashon of Rishonim, they say the heter of Chamar Medina is for a place that yayin is not motzei. Yayin is not motzei, but mokim she'ein yayin motzei, the Lashon of the Torah, mekadshin al shecher v'shar mashkin. Even she'ein yayin motzei sham, hav'shar mashkin Chamar Medina. So it would seem from the Torah, Shulchan Aruch goes this way, that in a place where yayin is motzui, then you have no eitzah, you're not allowed to make kiddush on beer. However, the Torah also brings down that there's yesh ayim, that if you're in a place that there's no wine growing within a day's journey of the city, so then that's called ein yayin motzui. Now, what exactly, how far away does the wine have to grow? But such a concept, he says, the Bach brings it down, the Bach brings down, Yesh Mefarshim, the Shar Mashkin, Loy Nikr Chamar Medina, Elam Kein Shlayeh, Yain Godom Mahalch, Yoin Kol Sava Ve'ir, the Hash, the Nikr Ha'ir, Mokim She'en Yain Motzaveh, that if the city has no wine growing within a day's journey of the city, so that's already called a Mokim She'en Yain Motzaveh. V'lefizeh, Vadai, Af B'Krakow, Shemotzi Yain Harbor, Eitzel Chanuyis, go to the store, apparently there's a lot of wine stores in Krakow also. Still, he says that has the din of a mokim she'ein yayin motzei. Oh, so l'chayra, first you read this, it has to be mokim she'ein yayin motzei. We definitely don't have that today. Yayin's all over the place. But now you read this, it sounds like that as long as wine doesn't grow within a day's journey of the city, so then we could be makel. It's called mokim she'ein yayin motzei, even if there's wine in every grocery store.
What's the start to that?
Now, what's the svara for l'chayra? You're bothered that l'chayra makes no sense. If wine's available, what's pshat meheter? So the svara is zilbas atayma. What's the havana of Chamar Medina? So you're right. If you understand that Chamar Medina is a kula, so it doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't make this kula if yayin's motzi l'roiv in all the stores. It's cheap. Why not? But if you understand that Chamar Medina, because it gets the chashivas of yayin, that in this city it has the chashivas of yayin. So then, even if the stores are full of wine, but if this is not a wine-growing region, so it seems that people didn't routinely use wine as their main drink, and the wine wasn't the chashiv, not that wine didn't have chashivas, but they had other drinks that were able to achieve this level of chashivas, and the they're kosher for kiddush. Now, this is very important, because l'chayra, if we're going to just go with this heter, that wine doesn't grow within a day's journey, so then we have to figure out. We're going to start saying, I don't know, Lakewood, I don't think there's any, we don't grow grapes in New Jersey.
Sure. Well, a day's journey is it's pretty far.
But you also is that the cars
you go 500 miles.
In New York State, there's definitely there's wine. It's a show is full of wine, so we can say
wine. Fly anywhere in the globe.
But
Okay,
schnapps also is not grown within a day's journey.
So are we going to limit this heter to a? So are we going to limit this heter to an area that taka has no wine within a day's journey? So Avada Zok the Paiskim that no, that's not what it means. It's not about a day's journey. What's somehow a kvias. No, the aside is that in those days they drank whatever was matzah in their market. So in the places where there's no wine growing in the area, even maybe there's a little bit of wine growing, but since it wasn't something normal, it wasn't the nimsa, even if you could buy it in the stores, but the Hamoin Am drank other drinks and they got the chashivas. Mashain Kate, if wine was grown in a wine growing region, everyone drank wine. Memei Zog in the Paiskin, Yashiv says like this, that Bizman Hazeh, I don't care if you're in Napa Valley, but if most people, I don't know, maybe Napa Valley, people drink wine, breakfast, lunch, and supper. But even if you're sitting surrounded by vineyards, but if you live in a society where people, they don't sit down breakfast, lunch, and supper to wine, that's not what people do. So the wine, you have this same cheshbon of ein yain matzah that wine is not the only chashiv drink. Other drinks are able to gain a chashivas. And today, Yasha says most people, they use kiddush for Havdalah, they use wine for Havdalah, for kiddush, for mitzvahs. Wine is not something you drink on a regular basis. Memelo other drinks Avada could get the chashivas of Chamar Medina. And Avada, even though wine grows...
The culture though, this is...
so we'll get to that. So even if wine grows in the area, we are able to be seimich on Chamar Medina. So, Mavaila, we asked, does Chamar Medina work for kiddush? We're answering that kiddush by day it works. Could we be Seimach and Chamar Medina in an area where there's wine all over the place? Yes, we could be Seimach and Chamar Medina when there's wine all over the place, because Afal that wine's all over the place, that's not our chashiv to drink. Now, the next question is...
Let's say you have a place where both are not grown.
So the next question is, what is Chamar Medina Bisman say? Now, there's mokim to say, and I think really this is what you're avoiding, is that there's no such thing as Chamar Medina Bisman say. Chaim Kanevsky brings down such a svara from the Chazon Ish, because we have no main drink. Everyone drinks something else. I like orange juice, you like apple juice, someone else drinks Coke, someone else drinks only water. So there's no such thing as Chamar Medina. Chamar Medina has to be that in this Medina they look at, beer is our national beverage, and this is our drink, this is what we have by every meal. But today's day and age, it doesn't exist. So that's taka the way Chaim Kanevsky brings down from Chazon Ish, that there's no such thing as Chamar Medina. Lamaisa, it's a das yochid. If you look in the Shnebura Nemzon, there is Chamar Medina. Moshe Nemdon is Chamar Medina, Rabbi Yashiv, Shem Zalman, all the Gedei HaPoskim Namon, there is such a thing as Chamar Medina. But the Namon, Chamar Medina is a very wide category. We don't go like they used to with what's grown in the region.
You can use anything?
No, you can't use anything. You can only use wine. Because wine works even if it's not Chamar Medina. No, but Zag and the other Poskim, that you're right, there's no main drink, and we don't care what's grown in the region. Everything that's considered chashiv that you use by a meal is Chamar Medina. It's not, it gets into the question, what is Chamar Medina? Like he's tiny, the most common drink in America is sodas and other flavored waters. We'll make it a big package of all types of flavored waters. That's probably most drinks that people drink. What?
Water then soda. Wine is number 9.
Well, water and soda is just flavored water. Lamaisa, this is befeirish in the Shulchan Aruch, in the Shnebura, that water can never become, the Shnebura says, even if everybody uses water in this region, you have a region where they have delicious, glacier water, doesn't matter. Water can never become Chamar Medina.
Every Chamar has water also.
What other drinks?
90% of schnapps is not water.
Beer is full of calories because there's it's full of the carbohydrates of the beer. It's not just sugar mixed with water. So lamaisa, waters and flavored waters, the Poskim say, are not Chamar Medina. Coffee and tea probably is a little bit different because they name on that there's something there from the coffee. There are Poskim that are saying that coffee and tea, and coffee definitely would be high up there in the list of chashiv drinks in America. It's Chamar Medina. Other Poskim so say fruit juice is a Chamar Medina. So it's a question: what is Chamar Medina? Ramosha Feinstein says, how do you figure out what's Chamar Medina? He says as follows. If I come to your house and you bring out some cold soda, I'll tell you I'm not thirsty, so say, okay, you put away the soda. If I come to your house and you bring out some whiskey, and I say, I'm not thirsty, you look at me like I'm a little bit crazy. You're an alcoholic, thirsty is why you drink liquor? No, obviously you understand that I'm bringing out the whiskey to be mechabed. So Zokh Moshe, any drink that's brought out to be mechabed someone, it's not about whether or not the person's thirsty. That's a way of showing you have a chashuv a guest. You might bring him out some coffee, you might bring him out some whiskey. These type of drinks, those are inherently chashuv, and that reaches the level of chashivas to be considered Chamar Medina. A drink that you drink only when you're thirsty, Zok Ramosha, that's not Chamar Medina.
Amen.
So, l'chayra, l'fi what we said so far, we could make Kiddush Shabbos morning, even if wine is prevalent in the area, still we can make Kiddush. And does whiskey reach the level of Chamar Medina? Well, I don't think anybody would disagree that whiskey is definitely a very chashuv drink. It's something that's used by all sorts of chashuv events. You bring out a bottle of whiskey, so whiskey would be Chamar Medina l'chafi roif paiskin. So far we established that whiskey is Chamar Medina, and Chamar Medina works Shabbos morning. However, we still have a very big problem. And that is that what we discussed till now, the fact that wine's prevalent, that's talking about that the city's full of wine. But when I have the wine sitting on the table right in front of me, that's a whole different story. The Mishnah Berurah says, Claude, that even in an area where Chamar Medina is something else, but he says if there's yayin babayis, so the Mishnah Berurah says that you are not zaymich to use Chamar Medina. So if you have wine in the house, in Kol Sheken, if the wine's sitting right here in front of you, how could you use Chamar Medina? I understand that it is Chamar Medina works, but Lamaisa, you have wine, you can't use Chamar Medina. So before we answer this question, first we have to mention, which is very important, is that this is not something new that was nischadish in American Kiddush clubs, that people make Kiddush on whiskey. This goes back already. The Bach brings down, the Kos Bach, Teim al Hagoyim Asher Hoyu Fenenu, Kugoyim Maharshal, Shachnas. These were from the earliest Achronim, right after the generation of the Rishonim. She'afal Pi Sha'olam Yayim Bebeisam, Kitcher al Shecher B'Shachris B'Shabbos. They used beer Shabbos morning, even though they had wine in the house. So we're talking about a very old minig, and this is something that was done by Gedei Oil. So, what's pshat? It's mir. So the Achronim try different eitzes to answer up what's pshat in these Gedei Oil. Maybe they want to say that Kiddush by day is only about a heker. You have to show the chashivas of Shabbos, so you can use something else. Even though why not use wine? There's different cheshbonis and hilchos brachas, why they were worried about mashkin b'say chasuda, without getting into that. Various different technical cheshbonis, why maybe there was a mile of using schnapps. But l'chayra, it's still very much chassid. What's pshat that they used beer when you had wine, motzi b'bayis. So there's a cheshbon which many achronim, Chayadam and Halacha Shiur, Mishnah Berurah, many achronim all mention this cheshbon, and it's really a beferish Gemara. Back to the Gemara that we started with, the Gemara Mesachim. So later on in the Gemara brings a story. The Gemara says that Levi, Shadlei l'Rebbe, Shichra bar Kleiser Migni, sent him special date beer that was poured 13 times over the shmarim to make sure it had a really good taste. Tameh, he tasted it, have a boss and tuv, and Rebbe saw it was really delicious. So Omar, kegoyin zeh roi l'kadash alav, v'leimer alav, kol shirs shizbachas shabaylo. This is mamash roif to make kiddush and everything. This is the best. Then it says that Rebbe that night had tremendous stomach pain, so he said, no, something that causes pain, that's not roy to make kiddush. But Ba'etzim, Rebbe held that even though this drink is not wine, since it's so delicious, it's roy to make kiddush. So what is that supposed to mean? Because it's delicious, you can make kiddush. And the Gemara brings another story with one of the Amiron, that he went into the beer business, and he started using beer for kiddush. It says because it was so chaviv to him, he had a special chavivas for it, he made kiddush. So chayir, what comes out from this Gemara is that there's another cheshbon. Now, avada, this cheshbon only works on something that's inherently chashuv because of Chamar Medina, because you're not allowed to make your own personal cheshbon as halacha. But once something reaches the status of Chamar Medina, even though wine is usually preferable, but if to me the Chamar Medina is chaviv, so then I'm allowed to be saimich to make kiddush on the Chamar Medina, even though I have wine that's nimsa. And maybe this sounds like a kiddush, but if preferish halacha is brought down, the Ramah brings down, the nogel lahavdu b'moitzi pesach al shecher, v'lei al yayin. The minig is motzei pesach, and make havdalah on beer. Why? Mishum the chavav alav, because it's chavav. You just went the whole week without having any beer, tremendous chavivas. So then they made havdalah on it. So what's the pshat in that? Mishnah Berurah's masber, that it's mavur in these gemaras that aside from the regular cheshbonis of Chamar Medina, that yayin is usually better, but if it's personally more chaviv to you, you have a taiva for these things, this is what you want more than the wine, so then you're allowed to use the Chamar Medina even b'makam that the yayin's matzi. Memela will say, Shulchan Aruch will say, that these gedolei olam who used beer and schnapps when there was wine available for Shabbos morning, so you're allowed to because Chamar Medina. There's wine available. They enjoyed more to have schnapps on an empty stomach, to have a shot of whiskey on an empty stomach more than to have wine. So l'chayra, we started off with a lot of questions. We answered wine, that there is a din chamar medina that works even for Shabbos Day Kiddush. Chamar medina applies even if wine is in the vicinity. Then we asked, you have wine on the table. So we said that since it's chavav halacha, that's a heter. So now, first, before we go weiter, we just do have to mention that if someone doesn't like whiskey, he just thinks it's a heilige minig to use whiskey for kiddush, then he's really getting himself in hot water because you don't have chavav halacha. But as long as you're someone who enjoys the whiskey more than the wine, you have 100% heter to use the whiskey. And the truth is that if the other option is grape juice, Shliashim, and there are other gedolim without going into that sugya, who hold that grape juice is not really yayin. Liasha says that grape juice only works Shabbos Day because grape juice is chamar medina. So between two chamar medinas, at least choose the one you enjoy better. So when it comes to kiddush Shabbos Day, you want to make kiddush and schnapps. The fact that you're making kiddush and schnapps is not a problem at all, as long as it's something you enjoy. However, we still have what? No, so the Liasha dons it, and that's a whole different sugya. But Rav place can hold the grape juice does work. Now, without going into the sugya. Now, we still have one big problem. We started off, we're talking about someone who takes a 1 ounce shot glass and he makes kiddush on his 1 ounce shot glass. Now this already, we're going to have a very hard time explaining because all the Gedolei Achreidim, we talk about it from the Mishnah Berurah to others, even the Divrei Yoel, the Satmar Rebbe, they all are very, very upset with this. And they say, Avadi, you have to use a revius. And the Mishnah Berurah says that it's not so bad. You take a revius, you don't have to drink the whole thing. You drink a moli lugma. A revius is about 3.5 ounces. You'll drink roiv revius. What is it, about 2 ounces of whiskey? Not terrible. And Mishnah Berurah says that if it's hard for you to do, so there's a heter in the halacha that the yayin of kiddush has to be drunk is a separate halacha. And for that halacha, it's possible. It's not about the bracha because the bracha you just have to drink a little bit. This that you have to drink a certain shear is midinah hakiddush. So that there are many achreidim will hold, and Shabur says you can be saying on that a bunch of different people could together drink this shear of Roy Revius. So you take a kiddush cup, you fill it up with schnapps, you'll portion it out and let a bunch of people help you drink. You don't need too many people to get the 2 ounces. And you drink the Roy Revius, that is zikr going to work. Now, Lamaisa, is there any makom lahakol in the 1 ounce shot glass? So the answer is there is makom lahakol, but it's a chiddush. Now, first of all, just before we get to the shayla of using pachs mikashir, as far as the shot glass, so Shmuel Kamenetsky says that even though there are those that hold that a kais has to be, there is such a shmur that you can't use a disposable cup, Shmuel says it's not a problem halacha, even though we know there are dinim in the kais of the kais shel bracha, the cup has to be can't be a kais pagum, but he holds that a plastic disposable cup does work. So the problem is not the shot glass made out of plastic. The problem is the pachs mikashir. So what possible heter could we say to use less than a shear? So, for this, there's 2 possible eitzes. The first one is geboit and a taz. We know that to make a bracha achreina, we have to have a shear. A shear, mashka, is a shear of vias. But the taz says that when it comes to yain sorf, which is whiskey, so since people don't drink a revius of whiskey, that's not the normal amount of whiskey to drink, so memelo zok the taz, the shear is a smaller shear. And he says that even though normally, if you'll say, I don't like to eat a lot of cake. I only eat a tiny bit of cake, so for me that fills me up. We say bottle daitoi, but when it comes to whiskey, everyone does that. No one drinks tremendous quantities of whiskey on a regular basis. So memela, the shear for the bracha achroina on whiskey is much smaller. And l'chayr lefizeh, there are those that want to extend this. The Halacha Shiur wants to say this, and others. Maybe you can extend this and say for kiddush also. The din of revius is about the chashivas of the amount that you have. So when it comes to kiddush on schnapps, since by schnapps, there's a chashivas even to a 1 ounce shot glass, and for bracha achreina maybe it works. So huadin, it will work for kiddush. So this is one mahalach. The other mahalach. What?
It's not going to work by Kiddush Club.
So the Kiddush Club, they have no problem. They'll be Yaitz l'chatchila. They'll drink the Roy Revius. They have no problem at all. We're trying to figure out Eitzah for those that are worried that they don't want to drink so much. Right? If you're happy to drink that, that's Zichah the best. Not all the places can hold that there's no problem using whiskey if you'll drink Roy Revius. We're trying to figure out the person, for whatever reason, maybe some people don't understand it, but why it's someone who doesn't want to drink Roy Revius. Now, the one other Eitzah, the Pascal in Eretz Tzvi says, is that this is a chiddush really has to do with Dinei Tum and Tyrus. We're not going to go so much into the Seidus of what he's doing, but he says that mashkin, the shear of mashkin, is a revius. That's only something that the Torah considers a mashkin. Now, may pears, fruit juice, the Torah does not consider a mashke. Memela, going to get hechshel kabel tov. So memela, zok the kosher klov goyin, that these things, they're not a drink, it's a food. It's just a way of eating the fruit. So, another way of eating grain, you can eat your pretzel, you can drink some whiskey. It's another way of eating grain. And memela, you don't need the shear of a revius. What will be the shear? Maybe it's the shear kazayis, which is better than an ounce. So memela zok there, that there's a chashivas even to a smaller shear because it's not a mashka. And if it doesn't have a din of a mashka, we can be makel to use pachs miravi. So just to sum up, we started off, we wanted to know, is there such a concept of making kiddush and chamar medina? And we said, yes, there is, and it works. Halacha Shiur Paskins by Shabbos morning kiddush. Is chamar medina apply? Does it apply in an area where wine is available? So we're saying yes, it applies in an area where wine is available. There's manazeh that wine is not our primary drink. And is whiskey chamar medina? So we said any drink that you're mechabed orchim with, which whiskey definitely is one of those drinks, works to be considered chamar medina. So l'chayra whiskey is chamar medina. It should work Shabbos day. We asked the kasha that l'chayra you have wine right in front of you. So that we answered, that's mavur in the Gemara, that if you prefer the chamar medina, you're allowed to be mekel and use the chamar medina. And then, as to our last question, are you using less than a shear? So that we said is already a little bit more difficult, but there is makom lahakol based on the Taz that says that since people don't usually drink the full amount, and the kosher global goin's chiddush, that we look at whiskey not as a drink but as a food. Shkech.